on the timeline of the lawsuit that if you wanted to bring up a residency challenge, you had to do that prior to the election. That's what they say the law says. And they brought this up after the election. The fact that the Democrats seem to be now far more focused on that element of it than anything else, and they want the Supreme Court to chime in immediately, which they do, because I'll get to that here in a second. That tells me that I think that this guy, this idiot, did not have his power turned on in his supposed apartment. At least that's the impression I've got. Because there is nothing from this clown car brigade that leads me to believe that any of this would have been taken seriously by a judge, because it's all hypothetical. It's all conjecture. It's all speculation, unless he didn't turn the power on in his apartment. And the fact that Castro came out so blistering against this guy, I'm going to guess he didn't turn the power on in his apartment. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. More on this story when we do return, because it does have some pretty big freaking implications, although it's not necessarily anything absolute. We'll talk about that when we come back. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Here's Aiden, Elizabeth, and Corey from Wellshire Memory Care with a holiday message.
This holiday season, the Wellshire family wants to take a moment to reflect on the incredible journey that we have shared with so many of you. To our current and past families who have entrusted us with the care of a loved one living with Alzheimer's or any other forms of dementia, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives. We know that this time of year can be bittersweet. It is a season filled with memories, love, and togetherness, but it can also remind us of the challenges that you have faced and the courage it takes to walk this path.
At the Wilshire, we are deeply honored to have been there to support you through those moments, to create a safe, compassionate space where your loved ones live with pride and dignity, and where your family could find comfort and hope. This holiday season, we're sending our warmest wishes to you and your families. May you find peace and cherished memories, joy in the present, and hope for the future.
From all of us at the Wellshire, happy holidays. You are forever a part of our family.
If your family member or loved one needs a memory care home, visit WellshireMN.com. That's WellshireMN.com.
Spring and summer is the right time to install your fireplace. Find your perfect fireplace and have it installed and ready before the cold weather hits again. If you already have a wood fireplace, consider a fireplace insert or check out the entire selection at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces on East Franklin and Riverside in Minneapolis. It will transform your inefficient fireplace into a reliable, environmentally smart heating system.
This is Peter Solak, owner of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Have you ever watched your dog or cat curl up in front of a fire? It's primordial, the way it touches both the animal and the human. We know that fire reaches deep into the heart and soul. Let us show you how. We have over 35 working units on display here in Minneapolis. We are located at the east end of Riverside Avenue at 2901 East Franklin. From I-94, take the Riverside Avenue exit. Find us also online at woodlandstoves.com. Let us help you make a fireplace part of your life.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977. Seward Co-op stores are committed to local producers and food you can feel good about serving your family and guests this holiday season. Shop seasonal savings, stock up for holiday cooking and baking, or grab small holiday gifts. Seward Co-op, serving the community for over 50 years, invites you to shop their 2 convenient locations. Find Seward at 2823 East Franklin Avenue or the Friendship Store at 38th Street and 3rd Avenue in Minneapolis. More at seward.coop. That's seward.coop.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. That's what it's got to be. It's just got to be he never set up any of his utilities. That he didn't, and it depends on the apartment complex. Some apartment complexes, you don't have to set that up. That's part of the rent. Some apartment complexes, they require you to get electricity, heat, water, all that stuff. I mean, I had, when I was a kid before I bought my house, there were times where there was one apartment I had to basically pay for everything. And then there was one apartment that everything came with it. And so that'd be the only thing I can think of, is that this guy rented an apartment and that he never once turned on the utility. And when they said, okay, can you just produce one bill that says you were charged from XL Energy or something like this? And he said, I don't have that. Well, then it would be the case, because there's nothing else about this whole investigation which leads me to believe that it's anything a bunch of amateur hour. And so, and once again, if this is the case, then not only should this guy not be allowed to run again because he's clearly too stupid to be in the Minnesota House, but anyone that knew that this was a problem and didn't sit down, it's like, well, did you turn on your electricity? Did you do all these things? And you didn't do that? You need to be gone too. Why? Before Friday's ruling, the Minnesota House was expected to be tied at 67-67 for the first time since 1979. Republicans are now poised to control the House by one vote, contingent on the appeal, but a special election can be held in the safely blue Roseville seat. But it takes 68 votes to pass a bill in the House, further complicating the start of the session. The DFL still controls the Senate, and Walz is also the Democrat. And the sign of how this will play out, State GOP Outreach Director Walter Hudson, who is also a House member from Albertville, posted a full statement in response with a video of him laughing. Now, once again, I don't think from the Indiana Coates School of Football Scoring, I don't think you let go of the ball before you go get in the end zone. Make sure you've scored first there, Walter. Johnson's appeal pending the state Supreme Court says Wickstrom filed his legal challenge too late. In response to that, Wickstrom said it would be premature for the Supreme Court to step in on that case, that it should be wait for the district court ruling on that one. So, yeah. If you don't understand what's about to happen, let me explain it to you. House Republicans, because you don't need 68 votes to elect a speaker or to elect the committee chairman. You just need a majority. With this, then basically there's nothing stopping the Republicans from putting DeMuth in as the speaker and owning all the committee chairs, which means this: they're going to turn the Minnesota House into a Spanish Inquisition against groups that they hate, bringing in people like Alpha News and the far-right extremists to talk about these teachers need to be reined in and LGBTQ books made my kids gay. That's what we're about to get. The worst of the worst. People whose I've got an axe to grind against Tim Walz, so bring me in under any cause and I'll make sure I'll make the argument for you. And you did this because someone didn't, once again, maybe this Castro judge, I'll be the first to say, maybe this Castro judge is just some MAGA far-right judge and he just was going to side with them no matter what. But I don't think that there's enough evidence for him to come out as strongly against Johnson as he is, unless he didn't sign up his utilities. And once again, that is a massive, stupid failure. And my guess is because, it's a big blue seat. What's they going to do? Well, apparently the freaking creepers are going to be spying on you and your kids. I still have questions on whether or not they jammed cameras in on his wife changing or his kid going to the bathroom or something like that. Because it sounds like that was their modus operandi. So unless this guy opened the door by not signing up or any utilities, and once again, Comcast, put Comcast aside. Comcast, I know a lot of people who don't have Comcast. They get their internet from their cell phones. So they don't need it. They don't need the telephone. They don't need the internet. They don't need the cable TV. But it's the XL Energy. If you didn't sign up for XL Energy, yeah, it's, and I want to make sure you understand too, what I already can see coming down. I can see already some blue dog Democrat saying, I know we can force their hand if we all leave, but my constituents want me to go give them a win. I'm going to stand up by basically turning my back against the Democratic Party, and I'm not going to vote for them, but I'm going to vote just so they can pass their bills because, elections have consequences. It's a tie, and you basically are willing to... They beat us by 90. Is there anything more freaking Democrat than that? Is there anything more Democrat than that? I'll say this the other day. If any hey, you want to be a moderate Democrat, knock yourself out. Be like Tim Walz. Tim Walz is definitely a moderate Democrat. But if you forsake the party for your own personal agenda, then I'll make sure we primary your asses out of there. I'm just going to make sure that you don't get another chance at this, because I'm tired of the Tom Box and the Terry Bonhoeffs and the Tomasonis basically derailing the Democrats, and that just being the standard operating procedure. You don't see that crap with the Republicans, but Democrats, I guarantee you, there are blue dog House members who are already frantically trying to find some way to, hey, if you give me this one thing in this bill, I'll vote with you, and then I'll look bipartisan. Sure, I'll hate some gay people as long as it gets me a vote that I can go campaign on. Yep. I can see this coming. Like I said, until we know for sure, and I'm surprised, I mean, both these rulings, the stories from the Star Tribune and the Minnesota Reformer came out at noon. I'm surprised at this point they haven't, if that was what the ruling was, is that it was determined that he never signed up for XL Energy, which that's clearly he's not occupying the apartment. That's the case. If it doesn't have that in there, like I said, we'll have an interesting case study, because from what I saw from this case, if the XL Energy bill, say it was getting paid, all of this is speculative and theoretical at this point. I can't understand, if that is the case, why any judge would so vehemently defend the guys that were the peeping toms. I don't understand that. Anyway. Obviously, my guess is that this is not going to wait until the session starts. The Supreme Court will rule in on this. And on the two things. One, did the challenge come in time? And if so, is there validity to the challenge in the ruling by Castro? Well, I guarantee you both of those will be decided sometime. And maybe they will be on the day we come back on the 30th. We'll have to see about that. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Maybe I'll mention this to Michael Broadcorp, ask him what his thought is on this. But as well, we got to talk Vikings. Vikings will play at Seattle. We'll talk to Michael about that when we come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
These days, only thing I do, we've been standing in the same room. People talking, but I don't want.
Get ready to laugh out loud with Matt Matthews at the State Theater January 23rd. Hailing from Alabama, Matt is a stand-up comedian and social media sensation. He skyrocketed to fame during the pandemic with hilariously raw posts and videos. And now he's back on the road with his all-new show, Bougie on a Budget. Matt's comedy dives into his experiences as a gay man from the South, life on a farm, relationships, and more. Don't miss Matt Matthews at the State Theater in Minneapolis on January 23rd. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Thanks to everyone who's continued to support AM 950. Good news, the AM 950 2025 calendar is here, featuring photos I took around Minnesota and important progressive dates. Members that sign up for a one-time $30 membership will receive a 2025 AM 950 calendar as a thank you gift. Make a one-time $100 donation. You'll get the AM 950 calendar and a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book as a thank you. Go to am950radio.com for the details on the membership. That's am950radio.com. Thank you so much for supporting AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Scott Shamblot from Shamblot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call, because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth, because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Hi, I'm Mary T, inviting you to experience our integrative Mary T Health and Wellness Center, offering physical, occupational, speech, and lymphedema therapies. Experience our guided imagery, meditation, Tibetan medicine, dry needling, massage services, including cupping and oncology massage. Sign up for our free wellness screenings and learn more at marytwellness.com. All major health insurance providers are accepted. Come for therapy. Experience wellness.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 17, tonight cloudy with a low around 4, and Saturday cloudy with a high around 20. Since 1984, Cafe Latte has been a hotspot for American eats and desserts. Enjoy gourmet salads, sandwiches, and soups with a unique cafeteria-style setup. Don't miss the pizza and wine bar, offering gourmet pizzas and over 30 wines by the glass. Explore the bakery for fresh treats. Located off Victoria and Grand, more at cafelatte.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It is the Matt McNeil Show. It is time for our Viking segment this week, which I got to admit, Michael, do you think we would be doing this segment so religiously if the team was like we're the Jets or something like that? Or do you or we're busy today?
No, I think we would have to do it. I mean, because that's what dedicated Vikings fans do is they sign themselves up for misery. I mean, doing this, not doing this when they're playing bad would go against, I think, our entire ethos. I mean, I think we have to do it. So I think what's unusual is that we're all Vikings fans. So when we're doing our analysis, we're always kind of like, well, should we feel good about this? No, we get to feel good about it. We're 12-2.
We're Yabos, man. We're Yabos. Hey, real quick, one political question for you. And I want to go back to the story I was talking about the ruling in the Senate, the Minnesota House race there, 40B, which basically says the guy wasn't living there. Now, I saw the arguments from these guys that were, peeping into his place, and none of them seemed to make any sense. And the one thing I said when this story broke is I said, if he didn't pay his power bill, there's your big problem. That's the problem for the Democrats. The fact that this judge is so intensely, and I don't know if you may know this already, I don't know, but I've been looking at the news stories. I haven't seen this confirmed, but my guess would be is that they asked him to produce a power bill, that his driver's license was changed to the new address. The landlord said he was staying in the building and he had a rental agreement. So the only thing that could have undercut him is if he never turned the power on in his apartment. And that, I'm kind of guessing that's what's happened. And that's why this judge has so sternly ruled against him in this case. Is there any other way you could take this? Because I mean, they're going to really want some evidence that he wasn't there. And that's about as clear of evidence as you can make.
Yeah. I just, not to put on too much of a partisan hat on Vikings Day, but I have some experience in some of these residency cases. When I was the research director at the party back in 2002 at the Republican Party, we filed a number of residency cases and we were not successful. But what I have noticed, and again, not a lawyer and haven't played one on TV, but having watched some of these residency cases over the last few years, the Democrats were successful with one against Bob Barrett. And they've gone back and forth a bit. I think it's the evidence that they had, and I followed this one a bit. There were a lot of questions about whether he had internet, whether he was actually living there and had some of those kind of things that you would expect to have at your house, like internet service, power, and things like that. I think just not wearing my partisan hat, but just kind of giving it balls and strikes, having been on the opposite side of some of these residency cases, and I mean, having lost them and not been successful at knocking people out, I think it's pretty significant to have, if you can have like utilities not being hooked up, I think it's pretty difficult to say you're living there if you don't have a full complement of utilities. But again, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not involved in either of the cases.
Well, and the modern day age, Comcast is not nearly as important. I mean, I know a lot of people that don't have Comcast. They just basically work everything through their phone. And so it's not Comcast, it's the XL Energy. And if, and they said, I mean, their thing was, well, they got the impression the XL Energy wasn't on in the apartment. That's not, I mean, I got the impression is not a legal argument. I mean, that's not the case. Yeah. So my guess would be is the judge looked at him and said, bring me an XL Energy bill. And if he couldn't produce one, well, then you didn't have power on in your apartment. That's a big ding against your argument you were living there.
Yeah. And in my experience, I think the court is generally inclined to err on the side of what to do no harm. And so, certainly in the cases that I was involved with, 20 some years ago, we thought we had folks dead to rights and we were and there were some components that were missing. Just in my experience, and again, I wasn't involved in this in any way, but just as an observer of it, it does seem to me to be that the most recent residency cases of the last 5, 6, 7 years, maybe closer to 10, that have happened is that they've had some good surveillance and evidence noting that someone wasn't there. And I'd be hard because I'm inclined to think that the court doesn't want to do what they did today, and they would only do it in, I think, really in extreme circumstance. And just my reading of it, again, not involved in any way, but there were a lot of questions about some of the utilities.
The utilities is, I mean, that's the smoking gun. That's the smoking gun. You can say, well, his door was dusty. Well, was it a windy day? You can't. I mean, those are circumstantial. But if the energy was not turned on in the apartment, that would explain why Castro's ruling is pretty strict. So
I would be more likely to not feed my kids than not have internet in my house. That's how much I cherish internet.
Well, I mean, you and I both have Comcast because we got the Vikings games we have to watch.
Yeah,
All right, let's get
absolutely.
to football. So just a schedule for everyone. Obviously, Michael will not join us next Friday because we're not here. We got brand new to you shows, but he will join us a week from this upcoming Monday and post Packer game,
I'll be
looking
there.
looking at the next Vikings game, which will be the final game of the year against Detroit, which could be for the #1 seed and the NFC North title. To get there, we've gotten rid of our hostess schedule. No more Twinkies, no more cupcakes, no more ho-hos. We got 3 teams that are all playoff teams or possibly a playoff team with Seattle, but we're at the road. Seattle Vikings host the Packers and then are at the Lions. The Seahawks are an interesting team. This is a team we have played horribly in the same sense as we have been able to play against the 49ers very well. 49ers can't beat us for anything. We have trouble with the Seahawks. Without a doubt in my mind, our team is better than the Seattle Seahawks. We're playing at Seattle. Seattle has to win. The Rams are resurgent again. They're looking like the leader now in the NFC West. They have to win. I think a lot of this, how much does this come down to Geno Smith? How capable is the Seattle Seahawks quarterback? Because he has, and this is the terrifying stat for Vikes fans, he has the longest pass completion yardage of any quarterback in the league. He throws consistently for 20+ yards, and that's a problem for us.
Yes. I mean, first of all, don't ever badmouth Twinkies again in my presence because we're gonna have problems because I'm a big Hostess fan. So let's not do that. Okay, again. We'll talk about that our post production meeting. But yeah, I'm concerned about this game. It does come down to Geno Smith. And Matt, I want to be consistent. I've been saying that from the beginning. I mean, we discussed the first home game for the Vikings was 49ers. And I had said on the air, I'm like, look, I like the Vikings when they play the 49ers at home. I don't like Seattle at Seattle. I don't like Seattle anywhere. Not going to Seattle, but just when the Vikings play them. We've had a number of challenges playing against the Seattle Seahawks. In fact, in 11 meetings in Seattle, the Vikings have only won twice, 2006 and 1990. And so we have problems playing at Seattle, playing in the Emerald City. And so I'm nervous about this game. I still expect the Vikings to win, but I'm nervous. But it does come down to Geno Smith. But I have so much faith in KOC and what he's doing that I feel good that the Vikings can win and they should win. But will they is another story. But I do think you've nailed a good point is what's going on with Geno Smith.
Well, and I don't know if you caught the injuries, but compare them to what happened in Kansas City with Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes really he got dinged. That high ankle sprain really acted up. Geno didn't look that bad. I mean, the guy was grabbing at his ankle, but he kind of let go when he realized he was kind of in a bad position. I think the defender actually realized I shouldn't be doing this. This is going to hurt him. And he came up, gimpy, and he got off the field. But he took reps on Tuesday and Wednesday, and he's saying he's going to play. But you and I both know, watching quarterbacks, if you are a quarterback and you throw distance, you have to be able to plant that back foot pretty quickly and consistently. And if that thing's giving him any problems, that definitely he's not going to be able to throw at least for those distances.
Absolutely, Matt, and I assume that this audio will be played by the Seahawks scouting team in preparation for Sunday's game. My recommendation,
the hostess Twinkie,
yes,
annual meeting, it's like public enemy #1, Matt McNeil.
Yes, based on my recommendation, based on my medical experience, I think it would be advisable for the Seahawks to sit Geno Smith. That would be my take based on just my medical opinion, which again, I'm not a doctor, but as a Vikings fan. And just, I think, best for Geno Smith, I think it would be best if so that's going to be my recommendation as they do sit. But yeah, I mean, it didn't look as bad as others. But again, I'm not a doctor, and all NFL players take a beating.
Well, they've been floating, the Vikes have been floating Harrison Smith back there, kind of as help for the corners and the safeties. And it's been effective, because Harrison Smith is a very good player. And he knows what he's doing back there. I think the question I have is, it comes down to that. Once again, though, I look at this team and I say, we're better than Seattle, but that's the exact same thing I said against the freaking LA Rams. And that team, sure, they beat the Bills, but it was kind of one of those things where I'm looking at the whole thing. And if you look at their season, they are a real Jekyll and Hyde team. Seattle's kind of the same thing. Well, the entire NFC West is the same way. I mean, they're all, one week they look like they could compete, and then the next week they look like they couldn't beat the Jets.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so we'll see. I mean, just around 50 minutes ago, there's no injury report, injury report listed, no injury designation for Geno Smith. So all indications are he's going to play.
Yep.
But yes, this is a must-win game. To quote you, this is a must-win game for the Seahawks, and it's a must-win for the Vikings. Of the remaining 3 games, this one is the one that, I mean, I'm really right now, coming into this, I'm like, man, I just don't like the Seahawks. So I'm worried a bit.
I watched the Seahawks versus the Packers, and the Packers ran around them, and we're better than the Packers. And we just are a better team than the Packers. And the Packers ran them to the ground. Is there an uglier uniform in the NFL than that Dayglow green Seattle Seahawks? What in the hell? Are they colorblind out there? Well, that is just god awful.
But don't you remember growing up? I mean, Steve Largent rocking the Seahawks uniform back in the 80s and 90s. I mean, that was great. They have a great retro look. This literally gives me a headache. It's like they're planning on getting lost. They look like road construction crews. It's
They
just
look
terrible.
like solid gold
By the way,
dancers.
I'm also going to say something which I've disclosed publicly. I'm not a fan of the Vikings white uniforms.
The whiteout, I like the helmet. The helmet is a very solid helmet with that nice gentle purple highlight on the horn. Very solid, very classy. I agree with you. White uniforms, I think it's better than when every team was going to black uniforms. Remember they were doing that for a while, that trend. But I like the purple and the gold, man. Just make
I do too.
Don't do a gold jersey. Do not do a gold jersey. But
No, it'll burn out our TV sets.
That would be horrible. But the purple is a solid color, man. I like the Vikes.
And the white uniform, let me say this to you. When you're in the stadium and they do a whiteout game and it's all there, it's a wonderful experience. When it's a game day experience and you're there and it's all white, it's great to see. But I'm not a fan of it unless I'm there. And I just wanted to know that, since I want to be as fair as I can when I'm knocking uniforms. Yeah. But the Seahawks are just atrocious.
They are bad. They're like those Chicago White Sox uniforms from like those. Oh my God. Remember those like the 70s? Oh yeah. God, are they bad? All right. So we have to actually pick 2 games here. And it kind of prefaces it, because then we also have to look at the Packers. Now the Packers come off. They are, who do they play this weekend? They're
the Lions.
Yeah, that's right. They're at Detroit, right?
Yep.
They're at Detroit. I think the problem for the Packers is that there is no guarantee they're going to beat the Lions, and there is no guarantee.
Oh no, they'll disappoint us.
They will break our heart again, Green Bay. But Green Bay then is put into a precarious position. They got 2 games left, and they are definitely in the playoff mix. But the Vikings are clearly a playoff team. We are a playoff team. Yep. And the Vikings are a playoff team, which means there's only 2 other wildcard teams. They can't fall that far back behind. And so they're going to have to throw everything in the kitchen sink at the Vikings if they lose at Detroit to try to win here and do that. Love is a pretty good quarterback.
He is.
So it would be amazing to see what he could do. Packers are playing the Saints. The Packers are playing the Saints. That's Monday night game.
That's right. Saints, yes.
They got the Saints. So they got the Saints.
Are they done playing Detroit?
I think they are. Yeah, they are. I think so.
My mistake. I'm sorry.
They got the Bears on the last weekend. So
Bears. That's right. I'm sorry. I confused the Bears organization with the Lions, which is an easy mistake to make. I apologize to both teams.
Wow. Talk about throwing down a gauntlet. I thought the Twinkie thing was bad. All right. So the Packers host the Saints on Monday Night Football. They're going to win that game. The Saints are just not that good. Saints are not that good. Then they got the Vikings. Then they're at the Bears. The Bears are, I believe the Bears are at Green Bay. Isn't that? Yeah, because they played at Chicago already. Yeah. So, gosh.
So,
all right.
Do we have Seattle first? Did you pick Seattle?
I'm not picked Seattle, but I kind of think this through a little bit here because I'm a little concerned.
Concerned.
Although
I texted you before the show. Don't do it.
I'm going to read this text. I got a text from Michael. This is like, don't get soft on me today. All right. Let's look at Seattle first. Everything on this game tells me the Vikings should win, and they should win handily. Geno Smith is a threat, but that Vikings defense is pretty, it's pretty frisky. And I mean, the last thing they want to do is, I'm not saying that they're going to play a conservative game, but I just don't, unless his leg is completely healed, I don't think they're going to really be risking trying to chuck. Because remember, it's not just throwing the ball downfield. He has to give that guy time to get downfield, which means 2-3 extra seconds in the pocket. If he's really hurt, they're not going to risk that. Okay. I'm going to pick the Vikes to win the game in Seattle. I'm going to pick it to be 24-20 Vikings.
That's a great pick. I like that pick. That's a sound pick.
I just think that, the fact that they were out so quickly after that game and Geno Smith saying I'm playing, I think he's like a little bit like Mahomes. I think he's injured, but he's going to play. And I think, because a lot of people are looking at, him playing and Mahomes playing tomorrow, and they're like, why are you doing this? You've already got the 1 seed. Take the week off. You're fine. But yet he's pushing the pedal down. This might just be a play to try to psych out whoever they're playing tomorrow. But I think he's still injured somewhat, which means he's not going to be throwing down the field. And if you give Geno Smith just a limited amount of field to work with, he's not there. And it should be reminded, even when he does have the ability to throw, a good defense like Green Bay's defense is able to shut him down, and we're better than the Green Bay defense. So that's why I'm going 24-20 Vikes.
I like that. I think that's a solid pick. Now let's go to Green Bay.
Oh God.
Now I'll be at that game, and I'll be coming on the show after the Vikings win.
Okay.
So I'll be coming on that Monday after, but I'll be at that game. As I've noted before, my wife is a Packers fan, and I always take her to I try to always take her to the Vikings-Packers game, and it's the 29th. I'll be at the Vikings-Packers game with my wife.
So revisiting what we were saying, because we were talking about Detroit, and that was wrong. The Saints. They're going to beat the Saints on Monday night. If they beat the Saints on Monday night, I'm going to guess that they are going to be in a position to where they're going to be in pretty much. I mean, can they clinch if they win against the Saints?
I believe they can.
All right. And then if they're in, then the question is, you already know you're playing on the road. You're not catching Detroit or Minnesota. At what point do you start resting players? Looking forward to going into this. This is the case. I mean, I've said this before. NFC North games are a mess. I'm still taking the Vikes. Just because of that scenario right there. If I'm the Green Bay Packers, the last thing I want to do in a game that really is not going to get me any advantage any way, shape, or form, I'm putting guys out there when the Vikings have everything to play for. If they win against Seattle, they've got to beat Green Bay against, and then they can face off against the Lions for the whole enchilada. You don't want to get Love injured. You don't want to get any of this stuff. I think that it's going to be the Vikes, and I think if that's the way it goes, I'm going to pick the Vikes to win 27-20.
That's a good score. I like that. I'm fully supportive of your score, but for the first time, I just decided to do this just to let you know. I wrote down, since it's the Vikings Packers and I want the Vikings to win, I wrote down my score of 100-0. So so we'll go with your prediction is official.
I think a safety's in there.
We have a backup, and I'm just going 100-0 just because I just want to be as extra confident as I can. But I think it's going to be a great game.
You understand my logic behind both of those, though, too, right?
I fully support it. I'm not going to challenge how you are part of the reason we are 12-2. I'm not messing with the streak. You started week 1. You came out with this ridiculous proclamation that it was a must-win game for the Vikings, and it turned out you were spot on. And I'm here to say I was wrong.
Okay, all right. This has actually become one of my favorite things I've done in radio.
You're 12-2 because of you.
Just two guys who have nothing to do with sports, talking sports, and it's just, we'll just go with it. And so Vikings beat the Packers, or Vikings beat Seattle 24-20. Vikings beat the Packers 27-20. We'll go with that.
And sub one, the Minority Report of Michael's pick of potentially 100-0. We just got to note that for the record. That's great.
All right, we will put that one into posterity for the record. Michael Broadcorp, we will talk to you on the 30th, my friend, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you.
Same to you, Matt, and all your listeners. It's always a pleasure to be here. Safe travels to everyone.
Safe travels to everyone, indeed. Michael Broadcorp, kind enough to join us. We'll take a break, come back, wrap up the show for the week and the holidays. When we do return, it is the Matt McNeil Show.
10 million fireflies lit up the world as I fell asleep.
Thank you to everyone who supported AM 950 over the past 5 years. Your contributions have helped us remain one of the few progressive talk stations in the entire country. To show our appreciation, we're offering 2 special gifts this year. First, the official 2025 AM 950 radio calendar. It features photos from Matt McNeil's adventures over the past year and key dates in progressive and AM 950 history. Second is a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book, The Hidden History of the American Dream, The Demise of the Middle Class and How to Rescue Our Future. Here's how you can claim these gifts as a thank you for becoming an AM 950 member. For the AM 950 calendar, make a recurring monthly donation of at least $10 or a one-time donation of at least $30. For both the calendar and a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book, donate at least $25 per month or a one-time gift of at least $100. Visit am950radio.com to become a member today and receive your thank you gifts. Thanks for supporting independent progressive media with AM 950.
Holiday shopping is easy with the Park Tavern. From now until December 31st, stop into the Park Tavern and buy a $100 gift card. You'll receive a $25 Park Tavern gift card for free. You heard that right. Buy a $100 Park Tavern gift card. You'll receive a $25 gift card for free. The best part is you get to decide which gift card you keep and which gift card you gift. The Park Tavern is open regular hours throughout the holiday season, offering great food and family fun. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park, the holidays are just better with the Park Tavern.
It's Angela Warner for Warner Sellion. And right now, our stores are jam-packed with yellow tag clearance items. We can't move in next year's models until we get rid of these floor models and closeouts. So many are at or below our cost. You'll definitely get a deal worth bragging about. Beyond yellow tags, our brand new appliances are up to 50% off. And we offer trusted, fast delivery when you need your replacement now. Browse our outlet at warnersellion.com or at your local Warner Sellion appliance showroom.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's Matt McNeil Show. So our final live show till the 30th. We do one live show then, and then we're off again until the 6th. Here's the deal. Brand new to you content starts off coming up here on Monday. In this hour, Monday, Larry Millette will join us. Dr. Joe Eastman is scheduled to be in there. Author Andrea Swenson and Greg Bakken are going to join us one day. We got Paul Metza one day, Patrick Cooligan one day, and from the P Fund Foundation, Aaron Zimmerman's going to join us as well. All those interviews, brand new to you, will be airing over the next 2 weeks. We got brand new to you content starting Monday. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to everyone. I want to make sure I get that out before I get back here on the 30th. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Drive safe. Happy holidays to you. Happy Hanukkah kicks off there. If that's what you celebrate, enjoy that. No matter what, just have a wonderful time. Thank you so very much for being here. Once again, a reminder too, go get the calendar as a thank you gift by supporting AM 950. Go to am950radio.com for more information about that. Christmas music, Rosie Thomas. Let's hit this here. This is lovely. This takes us out today. Have a good one. We're back on the 30th. Brand new to you shows. Pass it around. It's all for you, my friends. Have a wonderful time. Native Roots Radio is up next. Until Monday the 30th. See ya.
It's our favorite time of year. Our friends are back in town. Christmas songs keep playing on the radio. It's popcorn on a string. Wrap the tree around. Put that fire out. Santa's coming out. With your stalling snow is falling. Friends are calling you.
Hey, it's Patrick. Is your home ready for the holidays? 'Tis the season to be jolly, and nothing makes me jollier than a clean home. With the holidays right around the corner, it's time to get ready for friends and family, and what better way to do that than with my friends at Zero Res? If you've never had Zero Res over at your home, take it from us. Zero Res was just out at the station to clean our carpets this